2 words, Revo Fitness. Here's a few more. Simple, 24/7, reformer Pilates, body scanners, massage chairs, squat racks, free weights, pin and plate loaded equipment, no lock-in contracts, no bullshit. All of that and more from just $9.69 a week. That's surprisingly affordable. Join now at Revo Fitness Inaloo or download the Revo Fitness app. RevoFitness.com.au or find the Revo Fitness app in the App Store.
The Ash, Luttsy and Nikki Osborne podcast.
Hey-o. No, David, you were saying that you... And I said, talk about that on the podcast because I was mildly interested. Not interested enough to listen to you talk about it off air. But you said you were going to talk about something. You were just about to say something. And I said, no. Talk about it on the podcast.
Oh, did he?
Did he?
Luttsy watched the Diddy doco. Yes. I'm seriously interested in
I
this.
didn't know there was one.
Yeah, it's on, I don't know. Now I'm going to say Netflix or something or other.
I read a story from Page 6, the New York Gossip column this morning, saying that Diddy is suing the makers of a documentary for something like $140 million because there's a doc, and I was like, oh, I definitely want to watch this doco.
Before it gets pulled.
But is that what you've already watched?
Well, yeah, I think so. I watched something on Netflix the other day.
How many Diddy docos did they make?
Yeah, exactly. But I just felt like I'm not saying he's not a grub and yada yada yada.
Yeah,
I'm sure he is. But it's just like a lot of that kind of suspenseful music and then nothing.
Oh,
Like they haven't got much. The doco hasn't got much on it. It's just like file footage, a lot of
just
file
all
footage
padding and
padding.
just kind of, and this happened
like,
and this happened.
and then something would happen which would change everything.
But they haven't really exposed anything.
And then it's just the girl going, and we got there, and people were being kind of like creepy. Like, well, that's any club in Brisbane on a Friday night.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's not like criminal.
So it's not like a total behind the scenes expo on what happened at the at the freak offs.
And then it's like someone says, yeah, he was pretty creepy, and then someone says, I never saw him be creepy. I'm like, well, I don't know what's happening here. It's like you could do this to anyone.
Did you ever see his Graham Norton interview? He
No.
was on Graham Norton,
No.
and everyone was like sweating bullets because everyone was nervous that he was on set because he's so unpredictable.
Yeah.
And maybe they had some heads up that, hey, this guy might be a little bit wild, because when we were watching it, but it ended up the best interview I've possibly seen on the Graham Norton show. I kind of want to dig it up.
Was he good or was Graham good or what?
It was just the dynamic was everyone was so on edge. It made for brilliant comedy.
Yeah.
Really?
And he's intense, man. And he was talking about his parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard him talking about his parties, but not in a sense of like the total freak-offs.
Yeah,
like
a lot
that
of
was never mentioned.
Exactly. A lot of it, I'm not saying I'm into all this stuff, but a lot of the talk was like, there was definitely drugs. I was like, well, show me a party there isn't drugs.
But
like,
was
know.
that
Yeah.
was it
Who
this
cares?
one, Luttsy?
Who gives a shit?
Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy?
I think it was it.
That's the one that you watched.
Yeah.
Well, that's the one that it says that
There's innuendo that
he's
is
suing.
involved in killing people. But then it's like, it's just innuendo. Like, it's no, like, this amazing vision proves it. Like, it's nothing in it.
Well, his lawyer says that it maliciously and baselessly jumps to the conclusion that Mr. Combs is a monster and an embodiment of Lucifer with a lot of similarities to Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, I would suggest that it paints that picture. Again, he may well have done everything they say, but it paints a picture that he did a heap of shit, but doesn't really back it up with any proof in that specific documentary. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think there'd be ground there for them to absolutely do that. Yes.
I wonder if that's going to be one of those court cases where it'll be televised.
Well, yeah. I don't know. How do they decide? I don't actually know. Surely, if it's isn't it like
Remember when they
in
had
America, isn't it a public interest thing? If it's deemed to be in the public interest, they televise it.
Well, sometimes it seems to be and sometimes it doesn't. Like the OJ, that's getting another run on Netflix at the moment. I started watching a little bit of that last night.
The OJ trial.
The OJ trial.
Was it televised?
It was televised, wasn't it, Mitch?
I think so.
The OJ trial?
Yeah, some memory of
Yeah,
that.
because we've all seen the footage of OJ
So it's
in the
happening for-
courtroom
happening
with
for
the
years.
glove.
The only thing I can think of in Australian terms where that's happened is I remember listening on the radio live to that Catholic, the Archbishop or something or other. Remember that was live?
George Pell.
Yeah. I feel like I was listening to that. We were at some photo shoot and we were listening to it when the verdict came down live. But that's the only time I can remember it happening here.
Oh, I don't even have a memory of that. I don't think you can do it in Australia.
We were down in Albion. I remember where we were doing a photo shoot and we were gathered around the wireless. I genuinely remember that happening. I reckon it was George Pell's.
We were gathered around the
wireless waiting
Was
for
it 1934?
We were. It was like, it felt like that because it wasn't TV. It was. I'm
Really?
sure it was on the. But what radio would have? Like, I don't know. I have a memory of that.
So what are we talking about? I was just watching YouTube, watching the Graham Norton bit.
Oh, just
Watching the O.J. Simpson case.
Televised cases.
Whether
in America.
Diddy's case will be televised.
When is his case? Because he's in jail.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually went to hospital like a week and a half ago,
Yeah.
and then we haven't heard anything else.
He's going to pull that stunt. I reckon he's going to come out looking 106 in a wheelchair and
walking stick.
aspirator, whatever they call it. Aspirator.
Oxygen mask.
Oxygen mask.
Yeah.
Oh no! Now he's mentally ill and sick, and he'll live out his life on the Yellowstone Ranch, or something like that, something similar to that. That's what I'd do.
Even I'm bored.
You weren't even listening.
The Ash, Luttsy and Nikki Osborne podcast.
We're talking about Dump Day, World Dump Day, right? The most breakups.
Yeah, most
statistically?
breakups. I'm trying to think if I have ever been broken up with on Dump Day.
I haven't had a Dump Day one, not pre-Valentine's Day, but I had two girlfriends in a row that broke up with me just before Christmas, 22nd of December.
Oh dear.
What, at the same time?
Yeah, mate.
I had 21st of December. Actually, now you mentioned it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like just right on the cusp there. And hang on, no, it was two. And I remember in the middle of the breakup, of course, because I'm a dates man. Like I just remember that like useless trivia. And in the middle of her breaking up with me, I went, "Oh, did you just sort of see me go, huh?" She's like, "Oh, what is it? What is it?" And she's crying because she's breaking up with me.
Yeah.
And I said, I just remembered that Rachel also dumped me on the 22nd of December. She's, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "What? You would have changed your mind if you wouldn't have done?" And then I not that I got one back, but I realised I became an ass because my next relationship, I broke up with her
On the 22nd.
on the 23rd.
Oh.
Step better.
And
That's trauma. You're the victim.
like 11:30 p.m. It was nearly the 24th.
Wait,
it was right there. It was right
Was
there.
this 3 years in a row?
No,
what
there
was
was
it- what
a
was
couple
it?
of years in between. Yeah, it might have been 2 years between the first two, and then 3 years between the next. Or
So maybe that's the other date. So people do it so they can have their brat girl summer.
But what about what would happen in December for you?
Or what would I do to maybe bring it on?
Well, yeah, look, because it seems that does seem coincidental that
You've got to stop buying them vacuum cleaners for Christmas.
around the same
That's
time
just no
every year
present.
it comes to a head.
Christmas presents.
Yeah, it's probably
Yeah,
dodgy Christmas
I mean,
presents.
the one that I remember, the second one where I remembered it was now a consecutive thing. I think she was at the end of her first year of university. We're in our first year, outside high school. I mean, I was going to film school, but not really doing much. I was a lifeguard at a pool. Doing like doing some of the maintenance.
Yeah,
and
that's pretty hot.
the fluoro yellow gear that I would wear was not great.
Safety word.
With the haircut I've
More.
heard about.
All right, and she was studying to become a school. She got an OP2. I get an OP down the
Not
bottom
two.
end, far down the bottom
I
end.
love dumb men.
And so she's studying to become a school teacher. I didn't have any particular
My
aspiration.
dad was a school teacher.
Other than becoming, a filmmaker in Brisbane in 2004, like that was a raging career aspect.
Yeah.
And I remember going to visit her on the 22nd, like come in on my lifeguard gear, pull up my Daewoo Carlos, looked like a giant jelly bean, and she and her friend had just been out shopping.
Picking up men.
Exactly right. They would have more
Hanging
like,
out with winners.
As I pull up and I'm walking up the driveway, I see a friend and I'm like, hey, hello, Jess. And she like turned back to my girlfriend and goes, "I hope you're okay." So they've obviously talked about it on the way
so
home.
she knew?
And
Did
so
you
I
not
was
even
like,
know about
I've
it?
walked into it, with my stupid hair. Top of the morning, Jess. Hello, ladies. Yes, I smell of
know.
chlorine and kid shit. Yes, I've been cleaning up all kinds. Did you know the pH level in the 50-metre pool? It's like, oh god, we got to get rid of the pool cleaner. Got to get rid of him. So
I must say, listening to this whole visual of you, I want to dump you too.
Jesus Christ.
Did she let you get in the house?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, that
Like,
shit.
where
Where
did
did
she
that
take
shit when they
it?
lock you out of the house? That's happened to me. That's happened to me a
Lutzy's
few
got-
Right,
times.
you've been locked out of houses?
Lutzy's got,
yes.
Lutzy's got perhaps my favourite
Which
ever
one? Which one
breakup
are you
story.
going
Can
at?
I tell it?
Which one?
Oh, I've
Yeah,
got
I
a
don't
funny
care.
one
Go on.
too.
that-
Now all the funny ones are coming to me. Okay, go.
So it was early days. And,
Oh, yeah. This is probably the best one.
and Lutzy was, we were working at 4BC, but Lutzy would do side hustle up at
hustle.
Channel 7. Like every now and then he'd do a day at Channel 7 doing the sports reporting on the Channel 7 News.
Okay.
But just as a casual type thing.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend at the time, who I'd never really warmed to her. Like they didn't seem like a great match.
Look, it's always a sign if your friend
I
is
just-
like,
yeah, and look, she's probably a lovely person. I'm sure she is, but it just for me, I was like, oh,
Wasn't it good? You didn't feel like it was a good match?
I just didn't feel like they were a good match. But anyway, what happened was one day, Lutzy's girlfriend, she too was a casual up at Channel 7 in the newsroom.
Yeah.
And so she's rung Lutzy and gone, hey, I can't get into the computer. I can't, like, it's not accepting my.
Uh-oh.
So can I use your
Log in.
username and your password?
Would never
Oh,
do
no.
this again.
Oh,
by the way.
no.
So Lutzy's gone, yeah, no worries. And he's given her his username and his password, which I won't give out because it's probably
No,
still his same
please
password
don't.
now.
You did get it out
But
once.
so Lutzy's given out the password, and then
No, remember my password was the same on the other one?
yeah. So
I wanna know
obviously
what happened.
This girlfriend has got in and she's put two and two together and gone, well, if that's his password for the Channel 7, I wonder if it's also his password for his Hotmail account. So cut to
Uh-oh.
Lutzy then gets a phone call saying,
was she a journalist?
Yep.
yeah.
Well, there you go.
Saying,
Good one.
Can you
Very good journalist.
Can you come over to my house tonight, please? Can I see you over at my house? So Lutzy, like Mitch, has rocked around
In Mitchelton.
at
actually.
Mitchelton in his whatever shitty car he was driving at the time, and
Ford Falcon.
he rocks up. The dad is waiting at the front door,
What was in your email,
and
David?
the dad offers Lutzy a seat inside, where Lutzy
In a
goes.
sitting room, like one of those weird rooms that old people have. You know?
He sits down.
I'm
this
nervous.
Please take a seat.
He's got the girlfriend and he's got the father.
Oh, no.
And the father produces a wad of A4 printed paper.
Oh, he's printed them all.
Like as
Like a
thick as a
document.
phone book.
Dossier.
A dossier.
You had the book literally thrown at you.
Yeah.
She's printed out all of these emails that he has that
Mostly
he's
harmless
squirreled
stuff.
away of, like, it was the early days of porn on the internet. There was
So it was before Tinder even existed. So it was Russian bride shit.
Yeah.
Like just
It doesn't mean anything.
doesn't mean
Doesn't
anything.
mean anything.
Me and my mates were messing around with some Russian birds.
It's all just visual aids to get through your day. That's it. It doesn't
100%.
mean anything.
Thank you. And it honestly was.
And
Yeah.
she throws all of this down on Lutzy's lap, and it's just a complete shaming for Lutzy. And then the dad stands at the door and just goes, just leave.
Yeah.
Just leave.
You know what? And this is the argument that stands why
Hang on.
Australia can't have guns.
And then exactly.
Because
I
we would
could
not
been
have
shot.
Yeah.
Lutzy
And
here
then,
today.
And then to my grandmother, my uncle in Sydney, my brother, and my mum and dad, the whole documentation, Channel 7's bloody printing cost, I'd imagine, was sent the whole dossier with an envelope on the front, and that was what's written on the front of it.
I actually didn't know that.
Who
Is
is David
Luttrell?
My uncle, no one gave a shit, by the way. Because I knew who David Luttrell was. My uncle was laughing in Sydney. I was like, just don't read it. It's just a bit embarrassing.
That's so funny.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was the kicker. My grandmother got it.
That's funny. Can I tell a very quick one? A friend of ours, notorious playboy, but what happened was he had this chick over. He'd had her over a few nights, and one night she saw 2 glasses of water on his side and a glass of water on the other side, on the other bedside table. She's lost it. She's gone, the 2 there I can understand, but the one over there, that's not yours. Who is it? Whose glass is that?
Yeah.
She's done a nut. He said, it's nobody. Anyway, the next day we laughed very hard. He calls us upset because her and her friends have come by to his house. His Vespa's out the front. They've filled his helmet with tomato sauce and covered his bike in barbecue sauce. How's that for
That's brutal.
That's bunny boiler behaviour, that one.
Had he done anything wrong?
No, he hadn't done anything wrong. Not that time. All the other times, absolutely, he deserved it. But
Jesus, it's just a lot.
that's why I'm saying on dump day, be careful. Be careful. It's full moon. You could end up with a helmet full of sauce.
Who does that?
The Ash, Luttsy and Nikki Osborne podcast.
2 words, Revo Fitness. Here's a few more. Simple, 24/7, Reformer Pilates, body scanners, massage chairs, squat racks, free weights, pin and plate loaded equipment, no lock-in contracts, no bullshit. All of that and more from just $9.69 a week. That's surprisingly affordable. Join now at Revo Fitness Inaloo or download the Revo Fitness app. RevoFitness.com.au or find the Revo Fitness app in the App Store.